Hi, and welcome back to Chuck's Tuesday Tips. I'm pretty excited now because I finally got someone to help me film tips again and actually can edit and do a lot of stuff. So hopefully we're going to see how clean this tip comes out. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to be back in the game and back making tips. Today what I got going on is I have a client that wants a pair of pedestal mount wild boar heads. Now normally, you know how on a pedestal mount you're going to come in and put a pin in or a rod or whatever you like to do in the block that's in the brisket. You're going to mount it on a rock or a driftwood or whatever habitat that you want. Well, this gentleman, he wants it flat on the base with no habitat, but he wants to keep the legs. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to show you, but first I want to talk about the bicycle seat again. Many of you have seen my bicycle seat video. It's always, I feel, important to make the back of your for your pedestal base first, or to make your base first, or to do whatever it is first before you mount, so that when it's done you're not chasing it. A lot of guys cut slots to tuck the leather in the back, or they do this or they do that. I find that making the bicycle seat, we trim it, we pad it, and we put felt or buckskin or whatever they want on the back, and that's relatively easy to do, and I have a video to do that. But that was the thing that I did first. As you can see here, before I start with putting the bolts in, I went ahead and marked with a Sharpie around the back of the scallop. The reason you do that is when you lay your fiberglass up, it transfers into the fiberglass. You already have a nice line where to trim. You trim to the inside of the line, and after you do your mount, pops right on. So you want to check that video out. But what I went ahead and come up with, I took a couple of scrap threaded rods. I put a little bend to them so when we put them in and we bolt on them, torque the bolts down, it won't pull back out. I mean, you could in theory just run a sharpened rod right up in there, you know, but the only problem is you start cranking on the bolts, sometimes it might want to come out on you. Okay, so after I bent the rod, all I did was set them on here, centered it in the leg, traced around it with a Sharpie. Doesn't have to be perfect, just a line. And again, a lot of the stuff that I do, you know, I realize I don't always use a nice Dremel or Fordham tool and make a fancy slot and take 9 hours to do it and all that, but I always like to call it what we're doing is combat taxidermy. We're trying to get something done in one time and still make a profit. So the key is only touching it once and speed. So all I'm going to do is take a drill like that. All that matters is it's there. Okay? And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Saving up for a new drill. My loyal followers, tip watchers, have seen me cuss this drill for 4 years now. And that's probably going to do it, huh? Yep, gonna do it. I'm just gonna blow these out real quick. Okay, so now that we got our slots blown out, we're just gonna mix up our Bondo. And you know my motto, which is, I didn't really invent this motto, but it's famous. Putty's my buddy. So just mix up the Bondo as usual. And we're going to Bondo our rods in and let it set up. Smooth it out. And even then, it doesn't have to be perfect because we've already made our bicycle seat. It's going to get covered up completely. And no one will ever see that part. I mean, I'm not saying to do shoddy job. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, you know, you don't have to, you know, super spend all this time doing like a nice detailed slot. And all that, because it's just not necessary. We got one set in there. That's two set in here. What I'm doing here is, I know it's really, you realize I'm just eyeballing it, but they're pretty close to level. Okay, pretty much it. We're going to just let this kick to rubbery and then smooth it out a little bit. Then after that, we can mark our holes here, set it where we want it, drill a couple holes, we're in business, and we'll mount them up. So that's pretty much your quick and dirty how to save the pig legs on a mannequin trick. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you the next Tuesday tip.